Good afternoon and welcome to the Burnside Bowling Club here in Christchurch, and welcome to this final of the men's peers. We will see Tony Grantham leading for Gary Lawson up against the combination of Seamus Curtin of the Stokes Valley Club in Wellington, the youngster, and Andrew Kelly. And earlier on we saw Tony Grantham and Gary Lawson defeat Kelvin Scott, the singles winner, and Barry Williams. And we saw Andrew Kelly and Seamus Curtin defeat Taylor Horn and Jesse Russell in a last bowl encounter, really. And this 18N final should be a fantastic way to finish this event. Earlier on, we saw Taylor Bruce win her first New Zealand singles title, being in the final. This is the third occasion of being in the final of the New Zealand singles, and defeating Claire Hendra in the final after Claire Hendra in the semi-final defeated Mandy Boyd. And we had Taylor Bruce defeat Selena Goddard 21-20 in a real last bowl encounter. So now down to the last event. Alongside me I've got Brett O'Reilly, and we're underway in what should be a very good final, Brett. Yeah, look, cracker of a game in prospect. 4 players all on the frame for the New Zealand Commonwealth Games team, and plenty to prove. You know, Gary Lawson, 14 national titles, one of the greats of the game, and Kevin on a green that he knows success all too well. He does. He won, of course, one of his 2 world titles out here, of course, and you know, Andrew Kelly, the Cantabrian. We all know his ability. Winning the singles 2 years ago. Tony Grantham, of course, who was beaten by Kelvin Scott in the final of the singles earlier on, and Seamus Curtin, one of the up-and-coming players who has promised so much, and really this is the time for him to shine at the right time. And I'm sure, I agree, Brett, we're going to see a first-class final. Yeah, Gary's been in really good form. During the tournament I played in the pairs with Philip Skoglund Jr., and we played Tony and Gary in the last 32 at the Christchurch Club, and I thought Gary was in really good touch, you know, playing some very, very good shots, and Tony's always very steady off the front. But Andrew Kelly and Seamus Curtin played some great bowls in that semi-final. I never underestimate Andrew Kelly. He hasn't played a lot this year because his wife just recently had their second child, so he's sort of been off the scene a bit. But we all know Andrew Kelly. I remember when he beat Ryan Burnett at Papanui in that final, 21-7 in the final of the men's singles. It's good, mate. After he defeated Ryan Burnett 21-7 in the final at Papanui, and in the semi-final defeating Ali Forsyth that year. So certainly very, very competent player is Kelly, and of course Gary Lawson and have had some battles over the years. A very tight head, this opening head. I think it's more about finding out about the green at this point. Brett, they didn't have trial in, so I think it's more about, you know, you can see there's 2 bowls, one from each side. I think it is locked on the jack, so I think it's more about finding your way around the green on this particular on this first end, and looking very closely with Seamus Curtin of who's actually got the shot. I wonder whether they call him, whether they're both touching. Yeah, look, both very close. There we go. Well, one is definitely touching. The back one you'll see is definitely sitting on the yellow jacket. I couldn't quite see with the front one where that is. So, well, this side of Lawson's might indicate to me that they won't actually. He thinks they're one down. He's close here. Lawson trying to reach the head, turn something through, move the jack around a bit. Great bowl for Gary. 1 to Lawson and Grantham. Andrew Kelly, known around the bowling world as Potter, and he's a 33-year-old engineering technician, as you said, Kevin, from the Canterbury Centre, and actually from the Canterbury 2017 Bowling Club. His partner Seamus Curtin is a 21-year-old. He plays out of the Stokes Valley Club, and he currently works in childcare while he's studying for a psychology degree at Victoria University. So Andrew Kelly, good crowd in here at Burnside for this final match. And Well played there by Gary Lawson, just feeling their way. And we saw in the, it'll be interesting to see in the semi-final we did this morning, that covered the Kelvin Scott game against Richard Hocking and Aidan Takara and just be interesting to see, Brett, what hand they elect to choose, because Harry Williams got onto the rink and got the green really early in the piece and really made it difficult and capitalised the jack really, and just be interested to see what hand that they choose to play on. And talking to Gary Lawson beforehand, in my view, Tony Grantham is actually playing on what I would call on the kinder draw hand and the other way.
I played on this rink in the singles actually, Kevin, in section play, and that was definitely the easier hand. The other hand was very tricky. I see Seamus Curtin he's going to follow.
Grantham just drew a toucher and just moved the jack slightly out off that centre line. And Andrew Kelly taking an interest in this bowler, Seamus Curtin. Is it going to get all the way? Yes, it will. Sit inside the Grantham bowl and does so for shot. I think in my discussion with Gary Lawson before the game, him and I were both of the opinion that the hand that they're playing, especially coming this way, is a more kinder draw than the backhand.
Absolutely agree with that. Tony Grantham's made a great recovery, major shoulder surgery towards the end of 2020. Didn't play in the Nationals last year, and to be in a singles and a pairs final in your first Nationals back is testament to some hard work from the 49-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely so, because it helps when you're playing with Gary Lawson.
Absolutely, as I saw firsthand yesterday, Kevin. Still
no disrespect at all, but it does help when you're playing with, without doubt, the best skip going around in this discipline. World champion, of course, with Russell Meyer in 2008 here at Burnside, and Lawson's a specialist at this discipline of the sport. As the Grantham bowl just going to dip past the jack. Great attempt. You'll notice both the Seamus Curtin bowls and Tony Grantham's actually quite alike, actually. There's Curtin now, of course, has done very well in national events in his younger days, and well, he's still a youngster at 21, playing in New Zealand semi-finals, etc. In Dunedin when only about the age of 15, 16. Just slips by. He'll be happy with that.
Yes, Gary Lawson, 14 national titles, 5 of them in the pairs discipline. As you said, Kevin, he's been a master at pairs and been in several finals, as well as the 5 that he's won with different partners. Gary's 56. He's a building company owner these days, based here in Christchurch and playing out of the Elmwood Park Club.
And of course, Lawson started playing with his father, Stan.
And was in a national pairs final with
absolutely
Stan here in Christchurch.
Absolutely
at the former Hoon Hay Club.
So here's Lawson on the backhand. Just see how far that comes back. He's got a good drawing bowl, has Gary Lawson. Just see how far it comes back now. Needs to get under that bowl, close to it. Just going to sit on the outside of the bowl, and he knows where that line is now. And he slide adjustment.
Interesting for these players because they've been preparing for the Commonwealth Games on much slower greens. Many of them playing on croquet clubs on greens.
Yeah, I've had my say on that, and so we're a long way out from being at Birmingham.
We are, and as you and I talked about the other day, Kevin, the Birmingham greens are not necessarily probably going to be as slow as what they've been practicing.
Yeah, so I just still feel the danger is that you sort of get into people's heads about speeds and difficulties and challenges, and No, I'm just of the viewpoint, if you're playing at the international level, it's golfers don't have an issue, do they?
No, and I think it's been good to see that so many of the New Zealand squad players have featured in
absolutely
in the finals.
Absolutely.
And showing that, as you say, they can make the adjustment from playing on any surface really.
Well, they're going to have 3 days at Rocky Nook at Waitangi weekend, and it's grass green. Jamie Hill's looking after it. And talking to Mike Kernahan this afternoon, that's going to be running at a good enough pace to be able to get a good idea of, and really, it's really about seeing how they can their deliveries are at a different delivery point than what you'd be on these greens out here today. Also about the consistency, and also more combinations, and
great
ball here from Lawson, going to draw right on top of the jack, just adjusted that line slightly. And also as well, one of the things which Mike Kernan and I spoke about this morning is, and it's been, I'm not saying an issue for the New Zealand side over the last couple of years, and I'll leave Joe Edwards out of the equation. We have played in so many events in Australia where we will play 7 very good ends, and we'll play 7 reasonably good ends, and then we'll play 7 ends where we really struggle to get consistency and line and weight. So this training weekend is really about putting players under pressure to have that consistency. So Kelly endeavouring to reach up to this bowler, Gary Lawson's, to get to the counting bowl, gets a touch, turns it over, make any difference, and will beat another to the Curtin, the Grantham and Lawson combination, 18 ends, of course.
Yeah, I think to pick up on your point, Kevin, bowls is such a mental game, and so for New Zealand to be competitive at the Commonwealth Games, it isn't just about ability; it is about that maintaining those concentration levels for a whole game. If you look at most of these players, they have very good technique.
Absolutely.
The point of release is very good, so they're not bumping the ball like some of us part-timers do these days. They're actually getting them away well, and that's going to be the key on those slower surfaces, because you don't want to be bumping them out and maybe finishing a bit short. So then it just comes down to that mental resilience, and that's what we'll be looking for at the trial at Rocky Nook.
Well, and the other thing as well, you've got to remember, which always happens in Commonwealth Games, happens in World Bowls, you'll come across nations that you're going to line up against who are not one of the major nations, and they will put you under the pump, and we've seen that on numerous, so this is where this training weekend is about that pressure that you've got to absorb, because you're not going to win every game, and you're coping with it. And to me, you couldn't have a better guy sort of running the high performance part of this campaign than Mike Kernan. But more importantly, what Mike was talking to me about as well is building the succession plan now behind this group of players. And it's like the Finbar McGuigans and some of these other younger people who are the ones that we need to have coming through. Remember, we're on a 2-year cycle now for the World Bowls,
yes,
where it was 4. Asia Pacific is now gone. Well, good bowl there from Seamus Curtin, and that's not all bad. Asia Pacific really, I think having the World Bowls every 2 years is a better proposition, really.
Yeah, look, I think so, Kevin. As you know, I'm the regional director for Oceania for World Bowls, and we are talking about potentially an Oceania event in between the World Bowls. It's great to see actually bowls doing very well in a lot of the Pacific Island countries.
They are,
and some of that's to do with actually Pacific Island players who are playing here in New Zealand. So we've seen players from Australia sort of boost the Cypruses and the Maltas of this world.
Yeah, well, that Cyprus is a classic example, and Malta as well. So Seamus Curtin with his third bowl, Played a couple of really good. The important thing now for all I'll say the same as Curtin. So when you're playing someone like Gary Lawson, is short bowls will kill you.
Yep, he'll punish you. He is undoubtedly one of the great shot players of the game. We've seen that right through this Peers tournament. Worth pointing out, he was beaten in the singles by Kelvin Scott.
Correct.
So and I watched him play that game as well as his previous game, and he was and Gary was in pretty fine form in the singles, but Kelvin, as we know, was just a bit too steady for everybody. So yeah, you play short bowls against Gary, and you take a big risk, because he if there's a shot to be played, we know that Gary Lawson can play, and that's what.
And breaking towards the jack now, down a sit, just jack high, good second shot. That's what.
Yeah, happy.
And I remember here in 2008 that final at Russell Meyer and the Peers, and Gary Lawson and really in the Peers and the fours, he was the conductor of the orchestra really, and was outstanding.
Also pointing out, worth pointing out, he's won a national Peers leading for Ali Forsyth.
Yes.
So as good a shot player as he is, he's won a national Peers leading. He's always been competitive in the national singles, and he's won national singles titles. Yeah, so good all-round play, and as tough as they come in terms of his.
Well, we know that.
Mental approach.
You could talk a long time about that, but we won't. And here's Lawson again. Tony Grantham pretty keen on this one, trying to get to that jack, and touched it.
Played a superb bowl. That is precision stuff.
I think it's still the Curtin bowl that shot. Pretty close, those bowls. It's just centimetres away. It's that control that did draw preciseness. Andrew Kelly's out on a wider line. Seamus Curtin looking closely at now as it's coming back to try and sit inside. The bowl of Lawson sits on one, and nothing wrong with that bowl either.
Lawson may look to attack this, Kevin, because he's probably got at least 2 seconds there with his 2 bowls.
He might play the port with a yard of weight.
Yeah, there's a shot down on the backhand between those bowls, or maybe even around it with the way Gary plays and looking for the jack trail. Or
if he plays the port, he's got to play more than a yard, really.
Well, he's definitely on the backhand.
Yeah, he's certainly going down that line on the backhand, obviously taking that shot option on the backhand to try and turn that bowl through the head. So here is Gary Lawson now on his backhand, trying to reach through the port. He's outside the port, trying to get to that. He is playing for that port, as you spoke about, Brett, but going to get the front.
As you said earlier, Kevin, just the trickier hand there with a little bit more of an unpredictable swing.
It is, and that's why you got to. If you're going to play on the narrow side, you certainly have to play with extra weight. It's just not. It's not going to be kind to you.
No, it's a much trickier hand. So from our vantage point, Kelly and Curtin have one shot, which would be get them on the board.
Yeah, that's the main thing. That you want to. You don't want to wait too many ends before you bless the scoreboard, do you? So they'll be quite happy to get away with one shot. And here's Kelly on the change of hand, which is not surprising, staying wider out on that backhand. And you'll get the idea now, Brett, of what we're talking about. Just there.
Yep.
And that weight still, the weight's not too bad, but you just see where you get to that point about 8-10 feet out from the head where you're really wanting that arc to really start to pull, and it's just not quite there. And
watching that quarterfinal this morning, Aidan Takara just never really picked that hand.
He struggled to get the line on it really, and what happened, he tried to over adjust it on the other hand. And again, like talking to Mike Coonan, and his name is one of the names that was mentioned. And this is where the likes of Mike being involved in the high performance, Leif Selby is an example. This is where I think that I shouldn't say at long last. That's unfair to people who have gone before. But I just think that there's personnel there now who can offer so much in a way of mentoring advice at the international level or at that higher level about game management and head management and
I think you talk about two of probably the great players in the game in Mike Kernahan and Leif Selby in terms of game management. Leif Selby, a legend in the Australian team, now the partner of New Zealand squad member Lisa Prideaux, and living in the Auckland area, and Leif played a lot of top bowls in Australia, and you saw when he won the New Zealand
only took him one attempt.
Champion pairs with James Williams from Carlton Cornwall Club, and just his game management there with a young player, James Williams. Nice to see, and I think he'll make a big impact. And Mike Kernahan, of course, no one applies himself more than Mike does in the game, but both from a game management point of view and a mental resilience perspective. So they'll bring a lot to those younger players.
Well, he's the Professor Kernahan, really.
Absolutely, he is.
And his what I would call, his game tactics, so to speak, are a lot of you can learn from him. For the viewers, Mike hasn't played in this Nationals, first time for a while. His daughter, genuine reason.
Yes, his daughter was married a few days ago in a great ceremony up in Auckland.
Seen the photos this morning.
Yes, Mike and his wife Jan and brother Liam were all present at the wedding. I believe Liam composed a special
He
tune on the bagpipes.
On the pipes, and Kearney says it was all pretty emotional and that, but Liam, of course, Mike's son, are leading a world-renowned bagpipe player.
Yes, indeed, and so.
But these, if you take Seamus Curtin as a classic example, Brett, player with a lot of ability, but it's getting to that next level is the key point, and this is where guys like now with Mike Kernahan, I feel involved with these players now.
Good.
And even if it's the next group of players, the next 5, the next 7, whoever they might be, and it's about getting one round past the quarterfinals.
Absolutely.
What's.
Yeah, qualifying is not normally a problem for us at Com Games, but it's then going on and beating those higher, those tough nations, the Scotlands, the Englands, the Australians, and of course one of the things that we've seen over probably the last couple of decades is the minnows are no longer minnows.
Oh, then absolutely not. And there's bowlers now, past international players who are coaching all around the world, like Andrew Todd was. He's not now, but he was coaching
Morris Symes and
Symes. I mean, so it's a changing dimension, and even Canada now. Like Terry Scott's involved with the Canadian side and has been for a few years.
Now it's going to be interesting to see how they play this hand, because this is probably the loosest hand we've seen
wide
so far, and as we know, this is a tough hand to come down.
The difference that more than likely on the other hand, that would have more than likely been a fairly good draw line to the jack. Your draw line on this hand now, and it's nothing to do with the green at all. It's different by a couple of feet. Now Lawson, being the professional that he is, to me already knows which is the most favourable draw hand.
He'll stay, I think, working down that side.
And the other hand will be used for him in a state of emergency hand, literally.
I mean, for viewers, there's not a lot of wind around today. You can see a little bit of movement in the trees behind, but where they are, they're just in the shelter of the clubhouse, and I think that can actually also just have a bit of a difference on the bowls down.
There's a bit of line here from Andrew Kelly. This is going to depend on the weight, but this is the line. As you can see there, it's a completely different line, but missed that yard of weight.
Lawson just inquiring how far short he was with his last bowl.
And he'll be quite happy to play. And remembering Gary Lawson's, it's not as I've got a draw to the jack. Gary Lawson's not frightened to play the bowls, to turn bowls into the head. And that's again, that skill, that game management and weight control of knowing that weight to be able to turn a bowl into the head. Tony Grantham's looking at this bowl of Gary Lawson's, as it's coming down towards the head now, coming and gets on top of the bowl, does he? No, gets, look at that. Look,
Great bowl.
So,
classic Gary Lawson bowl, as you called it, Kevin. You know, knew he had a couple of bowls of his own that he could play through.
correct.
So he plays what we describe as a full draw, and with good tight line, manages to miss the bowls and get the jack full, and that's the years of experience.
Well, not being awful, Brett, but a lot of players wouldn't play that shot.
No.
It's about, you have to, and he knows where his hand is, and that's going to be his hand now, wherever possible throughout this final. And now what it's saying to Andrew Kelly is, right, son, you've got to, and this is this game management and gamemanship which has got Gary Lawson to so many titles. Here's Kelly looking for the shot bowl. He's close to the shot bowl, or Jack gets it clean, well played. And of course, played with that weight, Brett, to hold it up so it didn't get hindered by that tricky line out there.
We said, you know, Andrew Kelly himself, a very decorated New Zealand player. You know, won a number of New Zealand titles. You know, was in a final when he was a teenager.
Certainly was.
And at Nine and
that was quite humorous, actually.
And the characteristic of his game is that he's a very good weight player, and I think you saw it then with just a very, very good shot. And he played some very telling bowls in the semi-final this morning against Taylor Horn and Jesse Russell from the Central Cambridge club here. So Lawson again down on that backhand. Again, he'll be looking for a contact with one of the bowls. This time he's a bit narrow.
Way back in 2006, he won the Rangatahi Secondary School. 2006, he won that. Won a fours with Mike Kernan, and then remembering he won that fours title again. Andrew Kelly, Ali Forsyth playing three, Blake Signal and Greg Ruaporia.
Wow.
There you go.
That's a team from the past.
It certainly is. That was at 2012, and he was in the final prior to that as a youngster.
With I think Stephen Wood and
Stephen Wood was in that side. Yeah,
Alan Stewart.
Yeah, it was that they had sort of bush shirts that they
Yeah, they were very colourful. That was probably the youngest four players at that time that ever played in a New Zealand final, and they didn't they were right in the game for most of it.
And his coming of age really was the 2020 here in Christchurch when he played beat Ali Forsyth in the semi-final, and then played Ryan Burnett in the final at Papanui. And Ryan Burnett, magnificent. Well, Burnett in Scotland, of course, that's the
bowling royalty.
Bowling royalty, sure is. And Ryan Burnett, based he's now at Kawana at Sunshine Coast, but Andrew Kelly defeated him 21-7 in that.
It's astonishing performance.
Yeah, and that was really his coming of age. And prior to that, of course, he had played for New Zealand, but sort of as you never say playing for New Zealand as a substitute, but he came in some, just wasn't really part of the mainstream side.
Yeah, definitely wasn't established in that team.
So he, and then of course won at the multi-nations which he had in Australia, with Ali Forsyth skipping and Andrew Kelly was two, Krista lead, and they went through that 10-country event. They went through unbeaten and beat Australia twice. So he's certainly he's up there as far as top-level players are concerned.
Yeah, he's a thinking player. He's also probably the only bowls finalist in a New Zealand event who's come to bowls on his bike. So he was telling me we were in the same section at Sumner in the second day of the Piers, and he biked out to Sumner, and he lives in Woolston, and I was talking to him earlier, and he got on his mountain bike and biked here this morning. It took him about half an hour. So that might explain why his physique's slightly slimmer than some of the others around.
Well, there you go. He's
and as you say, very proud father of two.
Yes, new baby just arrived a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and it was nice to see his family at the bowls the other day. Always good to see.
Proud Oamaru family.
Yes, yeah, and great to see partners and children always welcome at the bowling club, and and it was good to see them out watching Andrew and Seamus. So they've all stuck to this side, and that's 2 good bowls from Tony Grantham. Gary Lawson will be very pleased with that. Yes, Lee gives the lead a little clap.
Yeah, it's the playing down towards the parking area here. That side of the green is not as harsh as going the other way, and there's a great opportunity there for Andrew Kelly to swoop down through there and to sit to where those 2 counting bowls are sitting. You'll notice with both of these players is that Kelly's persisting with that what I would call challenging draw, and this is where you've got to get that green on the dead draw. He's playing the hand that I thought he would swoop down there, trying to get another bowl on the head. Goes by, comes down towards the number. So that's half a metre lower the jack, behind the jack. Now, he may well change hands with the next one, Brett, and try and get that rest or jack movement, because it's certainly, the opportunity is there, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the approach that that Kelly takes on this rink for all the reasons that we've talked about so far. Gary Lawson, he'll be on his forehand, I imagine, and he'll be just looking to get to see if he can just get inside that bowl for another shot.
And to give, so especially as important as well, to give them a bowl, even if it doesn't count, but it does sort of just give them a bit of cover. It's on that wider side, and well,
maybe just looking to come to the back a little bit.
He won't be too concerned about that.
No, if Kelly is looking to play a shot on the other hand, that will be a very good catcher if there's any contact with the jack.
2 downs, you just saw Seamus Curtin then indicating 2 down.
So Lawson obviously saying, well, I'm going to challenge you here, Andrew Kelly, to see just how you're going to play this.
My only thought would be, Brett, if you're going to play it, you'd play it with this bowl, not leave it till your 3rd one. That's what would be my my layman's advice. But he could still draw the shot with this one.
Bit of interest from Seamus Curtin on this one.
Got the weight to get all the way down. It's coming now towards that centre line. Needs to sit on something. And the point I was really making, Brett, is you're just really playing to the bare jack there to get that same weight. Literally, on the other hand, may well have given the rest, and if he's 2 down, may have created a reduction anyway of 1.
You really had to for Andrew. He has to really play a perfect shot on that forehand.
Under the line is Gary Lawson, and will swoop across and into no man's land.
Great speed.
Really good speed.
You're down there again, mate. You drop 2 feet, you're going real close.
I'm not going to question Seamus Curtin here, but to me I'm not going to say a wee bit of inexperience, but I'd just say again it's about that game management, opportunity management.
He's got to play a perfect shot here, where on the other hand he's got a lot more going for him, but he's close here.
Needs to come back. Perfect weight to dare draw it.
Yeah, absolutely perfect weight.
But I just thought that where his second bowl went in behind the head, I just feel that weight on the other hand could have been.
Tony Grantham employs the finger measure, as we call it, just to give himself a bit of a guide with his fingers in front of his chest, just to see how far away they are, to make sure that they have got 2.
The only advice that I'd pass on is never open the gate too wide for Gary Lawson.
Yeah.
So now endeavouring to add to the head, add to the count. And how far is it going to come back from there? He'll get a good draw at the end. Will the Gary Lawson bowl gets a sit? No, it doesn't. And I think we'll see. They indicated it was 2. Seamus Curtin with the measure.
Gary likes to play with the tuning bowl.
Oh, absolutely does. Yes, he's not really a straight line or under the line bowler. He certainly likes to play with a bowl that is drawing into the head.
Two it was. So we're all square after 5 ends in the Summerset National Peers final. And you still get the feeling, Kevin, that they are just sort of testing each other out a little bit here.
Well, it's about 10 ends, really. You know, the scoreboard stays close, so to speak. It's about 10 ends, really. You know, we've had 2 lots of twos. Gary scored 2 lots of twos. We've had a 2 and 2 singles, so it's you know.
And here's the first
Now, this
change.
is interesting.
Lawson called it. Oh, no.
No, there.
Wanted a short end, but unfortunately the jack didn't reach Gary, so so that gives us a not unusual for Gary, as
Not,
a renowned short end player, and he'll be looking. So immediately Seamus Curtin says, "Well, we're not going to play a short end because that's what you want to play. We're going to play a long end," and he gets the jack down about 2 metres from the maximum distance.
So Grantham quickly into his work.
Well, I've had about 1 metre from the maximum distance. It went a little bit further than I thought.
And it's going to more than likely finish up with lower the jack by 1 metre.
Down here, mate.
And it's Andrew Kelly saying to his lead, come down here on your forehand, and just hope you've been watching closely, Seamus, where that line is, and it's not bad actually. That line that Seamus Curtin bowler's taken, it's going to depend on the weight, but you can see where that line is. Needed 1 metre of weight, but that was certainly the line, Brett, wasn't it? And that not too far out towards those cameras. Tony Grantham now on his backhand, he'll want to improve and likely to improve. And Lawson looks to be under the head. Depends how much weight it's got, it'll carry.
That's handy.
It's handy enough. It's jack level.
You wouldn't think close enough to remain the shot for the.
You wouldn't think so. Same as Curtin now. Just needs to, doesn't like that. I just questions he got out too wide on that hand. He had the good line with his first bowl, but it just lacked that yard of weight.
Lucky, mate.
And
Good, mate.
Turns up Tony Grantham's bowl, so he'd be disappointed with that result.
Which meant he was really, he wasn't on that line to the jack. And I think Tony Grantham, and to me, he's on the, from a Leeds point of view, I reckon he's on the right hand to set the head up. And it's exactly what we're seeing here. Another good bowl from Tony Grantham, just in behind the jack. The thing about pairs as well, Brett, as you well know, you don't want to be changing over as skip and you haven't got a shot opportunity to play, because numbers can go up against you very, very quickly.
Absolutely. Worth noting, of course, Tony Grantham will know this rink reasonably well because they played on he played a singles final against Kelvin Scott earlier in the tournament. Tony Grantham's got 3 New Zealand titles. He's won a singles and actually went on to win the World Champion singles. But interestingly, for someone who's renowned as a lead, he actually won his New Zealand Peers title skipping.
With Mike Nagy in Dunedin.
And they won the fours that year with Tony playing 2. But internationally, he's renowned as a lead. He's led for New Zealand before, and definitely on the comeback trail after that shoulder reconstruction to see if he can make that 5-person team for the Birmingham Commonwealth Games. And certainly hasn't done his chances any harm.
Absolutely not.
Tony playing out of the Mount Albert club at the moment, and also out of Birkenhead in North Harbour.
And also out of Carlton Cornwall.
Oh, there you go. Well, he's
I can assure you he's playing the 7s for Carlton Cornwall.
All right, well, that's going to give them a very strong team.
Along with Jamie Hill.
Well, yeah, that gives them an exceptionally strong team. I'm pleased I'm playing in North Harbour these days, Kevin. Not that I think I'll be good enough to make the Takapuna team, but
and Leif Selby and James Williams. So
that's a fairly tidy unit. Of course, Canterbury have tended to dominate the National Interclub in recent times. Gary's club, Elmwood Park, I think current champions.
Played Stoke last year here. In fact, we were.
And notably, Kelvin Scott, who won the singles here, that day beat Shannon McElroy.
Absolutely. You reminded me about it 2 days ago on that very rink.
Shannon McElroy, probably regarded as the best singles player in New Zealand, not at the Nationals this year, but pleasingly, I understand, back in the frame for the Commonwealth Games.
Certainly available. Is available.
Which is great, because he's a terrific bowler and terrific team member, actually.
And he'll be here at Burnside playing with Nick Butter.
I reckon there, mate. Nick is a good guide.
Nick Butter, the son of the late great Stu Butter.
Probably about a
See,
foot.
what's happening now to Andrew Kelly, and I'll be quite harsh about this, by trying to play the most difficult hand coming this way off the front, very quickly find yourself in a position where you're really working to get to the head.
Yep.
And nothing there. No disrespect at all to Seamus Curtin, but here's Kelly.
Just run.
Needs to get past the front.
He's close.
Run.
And this is a great bowl from Andrew Kelly. Even if it's not shot, it's a magnificent bowl from Andrew Kelly. And that's where I feel, Brett, percentage-wise, it's all about getting that percentage up. Play the closest, leading, closest line to the jack.
Look, I think you're right, Kevin, and while the game's tight, you just can't afford to leave the gate open for Gary Lawson, because typically in games he'll only get better, because he's such a seasoned player at this level. Just slightly narrow there, but probably Andrew Kelly being Andrew Kelly's eye a little bit there. Looks like Lawson and Grantham are at least holding one, possibly two.
Still just around,
and of course, also tellingly, they have no bowls past the jack. So that means they've got, and that's again the effect of playing that more difficult hand, which looks like a little bit slower, and so you're not getting bowls past the head, which then limits your options when it comes to attacking.
Yes, Susan, thank you for that. I remember that. Yes, I'll bring that up. You're 100% right. I remember that for sure.
Andrew Kelly again down on the backhand, looking.
Needs to get past the front. Doesn't get past the front. It's a feather off it.
It was that last Gary Lawson bowl which just finished in his eye, and I wouldn't be entirely surprised, Kevin, if Gary was aiming to make sure he was a little bit short there.
Oh, Gary's a technical player, and so I forgot the 2004's final in New Plymouth, which Rowan Brassey won with Lisa Prideaux's son. Bo Prideaux was in the side,
and the Hassel
father and son, and there was Andrew Kelly, Krista Leave. I can't remember who the other two were, and Andrew Kelly skipped them to the final
and almost pulled off a 7 on the last end.
Absolutely.
It was a miracle. It was generally in bowls, if you're 6 in a fours game, if you're more than 6 up playing the last end, you'd expect to win, but they almost got it. And here we are, Tony Grantham delivers a jack for a short end and drops one right on top.
That was that note actually came from Krista Lee's mother, who sent me that note. Thank you for that, Susan. Trust all's well at Waihi.
Yes, and great to see Chris in fine form winning the Queensland Peers. He'll no doubt be in the frame for the New Zealand team, but it would be fair to say, Kevin, that MIQ is not our favourite.
No, he won the Queensland Peers and runner-up in the Australian Peers in their players. Won the Gold Coast Mixed Peers as well.
But unfortunately, 3 of our key players, Caitlin Inch, Ali Forsyth, who plays in Victoria, and Chris Lev, who, as Kevin said, is in Queensland, unable to join us for the national trial at Rocky Nook over Waitangi weekend.
Well, they might be.
Okay, well, it would be great to see them there because I know they would have been at this Nationals if they could have got here.
They were, in fact, Ali Forsyth and Chris Lalieve were going to be playing in the Peers together. So good response there from the young Stokes Valley player. Yeah, it's fair that every endeavour is going to be made to have the three of them here for.
That's great.
For that final, I won't call it trial, but that training camp weekend. And I just think for team morale as well, I think it's as important as possible that they get that opportunity. And remembering, of course, that 2 years ago when we played in the Multi-Nations, Chris Lalieve won a gold medal playing with Andrew Kelly and Ali Forsyth. They won the gold in the triples. And if you talk to Mike Kernan and Philip Skoglund, when we then later on played the Trans-Tasman, although New Zealand lost the Trans-Tasman, Chris was more than likely the most consistent player in that particular Trans-Tasman. So his last outing for New Zealand, was what I'm saying, was certainly what you would expect of the international player.
And I think while we never like to see New Zealand players have to go to Australia, these days most of our top players, including the 4 players in this Peers final, are typically playing in Australia in the Bowls Premier League or in the UBC format. Because of the competition, and so for Caitlin and Ali and Chris, all of whom are employed by bowling clubs over in Australia as well as playing for them, that gives them a real advantage, and they're typically playing on slower greens than we have here in New Zealand.
They certainly are.
And that
all but a touch on that bowl from Gary Lawson on the Seamus Curtin bowl.
Little clap from Tony Grantham, so it's another bowl on the head for them as they play this first really short end in the final. And so I think, playing in those Australian conditions, Kevin, where it mimics more the sort of green characteristics we're going to see in Birmingham, I think gives those players some advantage. And I understand all 3 of them have been playing pretty well in Australia.
Yeah, here's Andrew Kelly, great attempt there. Yeah, of course, Caitlin Inch has won the Queensland singles. Her and they won the Peers as well with Julie Keegan. Right at playing now playing at Kawana Waters on the Sunshine Coast. Moved there, doing tertiary study.
Gary Lawson might have 2 here because Andrew Kelly just moved Seamus Curtin's bowl slightly with his last bowl. Lawson goes, I don't know if he was trying to play a back bowl there, it just may have been he was a little bit heavy because he is human after all. And Kelly again playing down there, just trying to get some contact on that shot pole. And breaking again, well, is he going to get round the front bowl?
He's got to get through that port to the front bowl.
Oh, you're a bit stiff.
He's going to sit, Jack.
To be fair, probably didn't have the weight, Kevin.
I needed another couple of feet of weight, really.
And these are the dangerous ends where, you're the first time they played a short end, a deliberate tactical move by Lawson and Grantham.
But even from Andrew Kelly's point of view, it's not as though that they playing the short end. They're not in a place where they've got to rescue and save a number of shots. It's still only a low-scoring head at this point in time. So here's Lawson on his back end, certainly out wider this time, but as Brett and I both said, plays with a drawing bowl for sure, and that's going to cut across low against the head. Will make things, could make it much harder now for Andrew Kelly, but there's the point, saying if I get the inside of my own bowl.
The back one definitely beats it.
Precision stuff. Seamus Curtin just having a good look and seeing who's got what shot there.
What Andrew Kelly's really saying is the inside of the bowl is a direct run to the jack.
I think that's the only one.
Definitely looks like 2 to Lawson there.
Do you like that? At me?
So this is in the context of the game, pretty important. They wouldn't want Lawson to kick and Grantham to kick away to a
I like what you're thinking, mate. Through that one.
This is the 7th of 18 ends in the Summerset National Men's Peers Final.
So Andrew Kelly having a good look at the head. What he needs to play, very deliberate player is Kelly.
Silky smooth delivery.
Textbook.
He's playing with weight.
Playing with weight. And that's going to gets the Gary Lawson bowl.
It's the second time in a row that he's hit one of the Gary's.
But to be fair to Andrew Kelly, I just think he's better trying to do that than try and fingertip draw to a 4 to 6 inch jack. I think he's better to back himself.
I'm with you, Kevin. I think the conditions are tricky, and I think we saw the other day in the singles final that it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to dead draw, even though Kevin Scott made it look pretty easy early in that game.
Yeah, well, he did for midway, to about 15, wasn't it? So yeah, he was outstanding.
So short ends of the recipe again.
But from Andrew Kelly's point of view, he won't be too concerned because there was a very short end, and they weren't sure they dropped the one, but they weren't in dire trouble, were they? So
Tony Grantham right on song again. Nice first bowl, down on that preferred backhand side for the right-handers.
Certainly that it's definitely it's a kind track to the jack. That's what I'd say, Brett.
It is, and pleasing to see Seamus Curtin's obviously decided there's not a lot of purchase out there out wide.
Short, but first bowl there. And the good thing is that he decided not to wait till end 10, 11, 12, something like that, where to change it. It's he might be forced to go back to it now.
Interesting here, I think Gary Lawson's had a refreshment stop, and so Tony Grantham just waiting for a skip to come back before he plays his second bowl.
The Kunkovic stuff.
Yep, just take their time.
But look, Gary's well known for this, and look, he can do it.
So Tony Grantham just waiting for a bit of instruction.
And I think it's fair to Grantham, and I'm pretty sure Gary Lawson will say to him, even though there's that front bowl, just stay on your hand.
I would imagine so. I imagine with that hand playing much kinder, he'll
he's got confidence in that hand. I think I'm picking just stay on that hand.
But equally, as someone who's recognised as a fairly demanding skip, I don't blame Tony Grantham for waiting for Gary to come back. You don't win 14 national titles by not reading the game tactically and being very certain about how you want to play. No, he's going to change his hand. So Lawson obviously feeling like that last bowl of Seamus Curtin's, which was short, was in Tony Grantham's line, and Grantham's changed to the hand, and he's close here.
Yeah, this will be a challenge on that hand.
Absolutely, and you can see again the slightly different pace, but he's behind, and Lawson will like that because that gives him plenty of options.
And I think Seamus Curtin and Andrew Kelly on this particular, and even though the bowl's there, you've got to get some confidence into your lead. And I think as long as you're not trying to steer the bowl, you're.
It's all about rhythm.
What you got, mate?
Well, he's going to get up reasonably close. It's handy enough. It's a bowl on the head.
Again, the weakness here is 2 short bowls of the first 2. Lawson has shot, already building good position. Looks like Grantham's back on the backhand this time with that Curtin bowl closer and in the way on that side. And
well, it's still very playable under that bowl to that jack line, and he's pretty well down here. Just going to depend on the weight, but that's.
Oh, he's played a cracker.
It's the.
But yours, you go close, mate.
So you can see that draw line is still right. Yeah, it's fine there. Even though that bowl of Seamus Curtin's is slightly in the draw line, it's still quite safe playing down there. on that back end. Doesn't like that.
Not happy. Caught wide. Might get a touch on his own. Yes, he does, but that won't change it. He's still 2 down. And again, no bowls past the jack, Kevin. With a player of Gary Lawson's experience, it starts to put a lot of pressure on Andrew Kelly.
Oh, it does. But Andrew Kelly's quite capable of. It's about being able to do it end after end, isn't it? And the biggest thing is that as long as you're in contact at the midway, at 10, 11, 12, around that point, even if you're a couple behind on the board, as long as you're in contact range, you're still there. It's when you, like we saw this morning, the game with Aiden Takarua, where they got out of contact, the scoreboard just got away from them early in the game.
That's right. And look, Andrew Kelly's an immensely experienced player. Nothing's going to faze him. But it just reduces your options when you don't have those position bowls. And here's Lawson, shot itself. Great bowl.
Yeah, well, it is, but it also, it's fell, which is advantageous to the Lawson and Grantham side, because prior to that tipping over, there was a good chance for Andrew Kelly to reach up there with weight through the V to get to the jack with a bowl.
So the dilemma here, Kevin, does Kelly attack early?
Yep.
And give him a chance if the jack goes back of drawing?
Well, otherwise you're going to waste bowls trying to dead draw within centimetres. So I'd be saying let's play with it. Even if you move things around a wee bit, just if you move a few bowls around on the head, and he's going with weight early on, and well, he was off target all the way, but
drove on the backhand, which surprised me a little, but maybe just conscious of that front bowl.
Looking for the kill, I suppose, isn't he? Really, that not reduction, or looking for the kill. I'm sure he's now committed to go again.
Lawson, that deliberate delivery of his we've seen so many times in national finals over the years.
He's under the line here. He won't be happy with that. That's a nothing.
That is a nothing bowl, and very surprising. Gary, perhaps he's got 3 there, and it looks like from our position. So Kelly attacking again.
So not quite as quick this time.
Oh, and he's got his own bowl.
Well, but there is one of Seamus Curtin's in amongst here too, isn't there?
He'll be 3 down. Seamus. They're both Grantham's first and third bowler, I think, are second and third shots there.
Yeah. Well, he can't drive again now.
Kelly does have 1 bowl at the back now. Looks like his bowl came through with it. So, but this is starting to shape up as perhaps a pivotal end, Kevin. Early, as you say, in the game, but nevertheless, you don't want to get behind against Gary Lawson.
No, you don't.
Lawson again down on that preferred side, and he's close again. Or is he going to reach it? No, he's not. No, he's not.
But it does make a difference, the line now that Andrew Kelly's going to play, because
and
driving that target.
And is it a coincidence, Kevin, that the last 3 bowls of Gary Lawson's, the last 3 ends, have finished short and in the line?
Yes,
I don't think he was trying to finish short, but you're right. And
might just be dumb luck, but certainly he's made it very hard for Andrew Kelly.
But believe me, this guy can still play.
Oh, no question. Playing on that forehand side, knees.
Yeah, well, if he gets it down to turning the bowl in, that's a good result.
Yeah, that's a very
good result. Well played, Andrew Kelly, because that was a very tacky head, and he played with the right, just to wait to know he was going to be there, had something to run to contact with. A one shot result's fine. That's.
It's an old adage in the game: second shot.
It's the best shot.
And when you've got an end like that potentially could have been, could have been a turning point. Getting second shot keeps the game nice and tight. 7-4 after 8 ends. Gary Lawson and Tony Grantham lead Andrew Kelly and Seamus Curtin here at Burnside Bowling Club in the final of the Summerset National Men's Pairs. And again, Tony Grantham, Kevin, on they've obviously decided short ends is going to be the recipe.
And look, Seamus Curtin and Andrew Kelly, they've had a couple of ends of this length now. They're proficient enough. It shouldn't really, it's more about getting those short ends so that when required, Gary Lawson can attack. Good opening bowl here from Tony Grantham. And
either side you count.
And there you just heard the call there from Andrew Kelly saying get either side of the bowl and it counts. And this is a big pressure for Seamus Curtin, and this is what exactly what Mike Kernahan was talking about, and that's a good response from.
That's much better.
That's a good response from the young Stokes Valley player, just behind the head.
Much better first bowl.
Tony Grantham again on a good line. Gary Lawson likes this.
Yeah, giving him a bit of a clap as it comes in. Yeah.
But it's fine playing these short ends here in New Zealand. If you're playing, you're not going to play these in the UK.
Go real close for shot.
For viewers unfamiliar with the UK conditions, it's a much tighter line. And typically a lot of the countries that you're going to play in on the greens there are going to be playing through the head.
Absolutely.
With most of their bowls, and so a couple of bowls like that in those conditions there, unless they're right on top of the jack.
This is a good bowl here from the Seamus Curtin. Well played.
Yeah, great bowl from the 21-year-old Stokes Valley.
And shot.
I can hear Mike Carroll and the Stokes Valley clubhouse applauding that one.
Yeah, they're very, very good supporting club, Stokes Valley.
Produce a number of very good young bowlers over.
They have. And they've got a good stock of young players there. Finbar McGuigan, of course, he's another one that's there. Who's in
Mike and his brothers, Clinton Corey, both all good players there. And
Finbar McGuigan will play for New Zealand at some point.
And back many years ago, an old friend of ours, Colin Duffy, who was one of the early players in the Stokes Valley Club after it was established in the 1960s, I think, if I remember rightly. I grew up not too far away from there.
Yeah, it's good leading from Seamus Curtin, really. It's Tony Grantham that's got two bowls lower, the jack one behind. Seamus Curtin's got the shot right in behind, another one about 2'6" behind, and the back bowl.
Copybook here.
Yeah,
really.
that's well played by the young Stokes Valley player. And we'll see now. Gary Lawson will change to he will follow down on that forehand. Don't know whether that'll come back far enough. Looked wideish out of the hand.
And it did, and heavy. That's he's human.
Well, again, I think ideally he would have been trying to turn the Tony Grantham bowls into the head and to play through to the jack. He should have, and there's, again, if you're not going to dare draw the shot, there's nothing wrong with that weight. If you've got bowls there that you can use, here's Kelly on the backhand, out on that wider side, and it's a shorter length head. Just a matter of how far that will work its way back. Still working down towards the jack. You don't want to give Lawson a V. That's well played from Andrew Kelly, but there's the V. We'll definitely see Lawson change his hand here, and will certainly be playing down on that backhand to reach the jack. Just open the door slightly, and he'll be reaching with weight. That'll be too wide, I think. It won't come back from there.
Yes, even the turning Gary Lawson bowl can't turn that far, and so...
Add a foot, try to get it down the line, eh?
Yep.
So Andrew Kelly says add a foot and try and get it down the line.
Well, that's a shot to play because even if he turns it over once, it still would be in the Kelly camp favour. So here's Kelly now on the back end. Played good with his first.
He's close here.
Gets past these front bowls. past the front. Generous feather.
Oh, that's ended up in a great place.
Well, it's sitting jack line, isn't it? You know, look, you know, really now, Brett. The weight that Gary played now, you forget about that. If you're going to attack it, you got to blast it. I think because you could be 2 inches wide on the run, and you're going to miss everything.
I think Lawson will be looking at that plant, just with Tony Grantham's short bowls there, just to see what that might do if he happens to be slightly off target. But he'll be looking for the shot bowl. For the front bowl.
Absolutely.
And see Gary Lawson's orange bowl at the back there, and Tony Grantham's got one there, along with Seamus Curtin. So
and even if Gary Lawson did chip those other bowls, I think one would. I don't think it would make a great difference to 2 bowls of Grantham's out to the side, the way out of that position, and Lawson's playing this on the forehand, right?
I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play another backhand runner.
Yeah, that's just what he had to play.
Ooh.
And pulled the hand, saw the hand. Boy, if you saw Gary Lawson, won't want to see a replay of that.
No.
Because he saw the hand just at the point of delivery, just wave it across.
Yep, not in the coaching manual, that shot. And so...
well, they'll be holding 3.
So, you know, this first end where Seamus Curtin got his first bowl to the jack.
It's that first bowl effectiveness that we're talking about, you know, that's makes such a big difference. And Andrew Kelly stayed out on that safe side on the draw, taking the big arc on the bowl on the safe side. And it's 3. Heard Tony Grantham there. 3 it is.
Tightened us up. 7 all after 9 ends.
Well, halfway mark, now comes the deliberation. I don't think they'll be comfortable playing that. Although they picked a 3 up, I don't think that they'll be comfortable playing that length, really, because what you're really doing as well is you're writing the book to Gary Lawson that we're going to play the next 9 ends then at that length. Well, they don't want to do that. So I'm picking that we'll see some length in the jack or the mat up or whatever, but that length that they just played, although picking the 3 up, it's very, very difficult, very, very challenging, very slick, the green, and you can very easily miss by a metre.
Yeah, this morning in the semi-final against Taylor Horn and Jesse Russell from Central Cambridge, we saw Curtin and Kelly play a lot of long ends. And so they were definitely comfortable playing that length, but it looks like they've gone for a sort of more of a medium length here. They're reasonably
they're about 4 feet from the 2 metre mark, but it's certainly, well, the good thing is that Seamus Curtin is immediately going to what I would call the hand to draw on, not trying to risk it to go back to, right, we're scored, I'm going to lengthen it up and I'm going to go and play the other hand again, and long as he can. But here, the point I'm going to make again, Brett, is the last time coming this way, it's exactly where Seamus Curtin's first bowl went.
Yep.
And
this is where mentally you've really got to start working on yourself to say,
and
I
you
need
can
to
see that breeze there, you can see it on Tony Grantham's trousers. So that means, you know, the story here, right here now is, you know, your jack's not your mark, that metre behind your mark. The minute you start, now the door's been left open for him by Tony Grantham, so here now, you know,
jump on, mate.
It's your draw line is really just to Andrew Kelly's feet, or not quite as far, because if you start to try and dead draw to the jack now on this length, you're going to finish, you'll be short.
You heard a word of encouragement from Andrew Kelly there. Come on, mate. Curtin's definitely up this time. Probably not as close as he'd like to be, but it's behind.
This sort of length that I've always termed as a suicide length, because you've just come off, just drop it out of your hand type thing, where at least if you're at the 2 metre mark, you know where you are. Here you're in that in between. Yeah,
it's definitely that in between length, and when you've been playing either long or short, it makes it tricky. Grantham, nice adjustment. His weight was pretty good with his first bowl, so he really just needed to correct his line, and he's played a good a good close bowl now.
Well, Seamus Curtin now, that's his jack, that last bowl of
Absolutely.
Tony Grantham's. That's to be his jack, nothing other than that. And he's made good correction here as the young Stokes Valley player still going to go by, but sits on that Seamus on the Grantham bowl. But great chance here now for Grantham to sort of tie the head up a bit for his skip. And Gary Lawson liked it halfway down, but it's going to get the front. So now it becomes very interesting. This length now, Brett, we've just about cut one hand off.
Yeah, look, it's gonna be tricky. It'll be interesting to see whether Lawson persists with that backhand side. It's tricky.
Fury, well, with Gary's bowls, because where that front bowl is, he could more than likely play around just outside that bowl and still finish up around jack level. Perhaps not so with Andrew Kelly's bowl, and we'll see now Kelly is going to that forehand side.
Played it well last time.
He certainly did.
In the other direction. So let's see how he goes here. Effortless delivery. He really just gets the ball away beautifully. Does Andrew Kelly. And he's on a pretty good line. I'm not sure if he's going to make it. Just breaking.
Going to be 4 foot short.
He'd be disappointed with that. And Gary Lawson changing his hand, so obviously feeling that that's just a little bit tricky on that other side with the bowls there. You can see the impact of the breeze.
And the Gary Lawson bowl has also fallen short. And I can tell you, that team that we were talking about at Paratutu with Ryan Brassey, and it was Andrew Kelly, Krista Leave, Danny Delaney and Riker Gregory.
That's right.
That was the side just confirmed to me there.
Nice to see Riker Gregory actually playing at these nationals.
This is going to be hard to come back from there, Brett. It's going to be very difficult to get enough to get back. I know he's encouraging it, but will it get back enough? Gary Lawson would have read now from both of those bowls and his own that he knows very well that you've got to be in between. Bit of wind out there as well now. And this is a better bowl here from Lawson. How's the weight though going to carry through? But that's actually the line, Brendan. That shot line now for Andrew Kelly has beat your last bowl.
I'm going to pop out and have a look in a minute after this end, Kevin, and just see what's happening with that breeze, because just watching Seamus Curtin shoot there, it just looks like that breeze might have just got up a little bit. Not unusual in Canterbury conditions to see that nor'wester roll in the afternoon, but yeah, that bowl seemed to take off on that line.
It did. Now, for Kelly here, he can just doesn't have to adjust his line very much at all. His weight looked to be fine. So here is Andrew Kelly, and he's on a different line with this bowl. This should work its way back towards the centre line, Brett. From there, just depends now on the weight.
Push through that green stuff.
Come through the green stuff. You heard Seamus Curtin.
Now what he means there is, in some parts of the green, of the bowling green, some of the surface is a little bit greener, and that tends to just change the
holding one speed. Is Grantham and Lawson. Yeah, you can see there is some green spots there, not thick, but
it can just slightly change the finish of the bowl as they come down.
Well, that bowl just fell over then, that Andrew Kelly bowl. Now, whether that makes any difference, I don't know, but it just fell over. It's interesting. Gary Lawson saying, now I'm going to play percentages here. I know which is the best hand, and I know where I've got to come and get through that port, or he can get around it. Can Lawson? Has he got the weight?
He looks pretty close. Yep, that's two. I'm going to pop out, Kevin, and just check that breeze for a second, and I'll look forward to reporting back shortly.
Two it is to the Tony Grantham, Gary Lawson side. Of course, Gary Lawson going for New Zealand title number 15. He's got the most, of course, New Zealand championships under his belt. And certainly, he'd love to get another one for sure. So straight away back to the shorter end. It's Tony Grantham. And a good opening bowl, just slips by the jack, but a good opening bowl. So Lawson won the New Zealand fours in 2020. He won the pairs in 2018, the fours in 2018.
Great reply, mate. Well done.
Pairs in 2017. Great bowl there from Seamus Curtin. Won the pairs again in 2010. Won the pairs in 2008, the fours in 2004. And so it goes on. Pairs in 97, fours in 97. 96 won the national fours. 94 New Zealand
mate.
singles.
Look to move yours.
So an absolutely unbelievable CV that Gary Lawson brings to this final. But don't underestimate the ability of Andrew Kelly and Seamus Curtin, that's for sure. And we've seen Seamus Curtin draw the shot and then just finish one a couple of feet over. 9-7 to Tony Grantham and Gary Lawson at 11 of 18 ends. Earlier on today we saw Taylor Bruce of the Burnside Club here in Christchurch win her first New Zealand singles title, where she defeated Claire Hendra of Silverstream. And right throughout the match, really, Taylor Bruce was pretty convincing and played exceptionally well to win her first New Zealand title, or New Zealand singles title. Had been in two other finals prior to that. It was one New Zealand fours, beaten earlier on in the week by in the pairs, and of course Claire Hendra, who she played in the final of the singles, was her pairs partner when they went down to Bev Morrell and Sandra Keith in that final. So here's Lawson now on the mat, one down on the head.
Yeah, I can confirm, Kevin, it's definitely got a bit breezier out there. You know, the leads have played some pretty good bowls here, but it's trickier, and you see Gary Lawson's bowl there break right across the head.
Well, I played with that searching weight there, trying to get down under the line to sit on top of the shot bowl. And of course, Lawson will always be looking for shots. 9-7 as we play 11 of the 18. Here's Andrew Kelly now. If you can get to the same as Curtin bowl or the jack. Oh, he won't be too concerned about that because he's got a bowl now on either side.
I think our old mate Stu Scott would have called that the slice from hell, Kevin.
Yeah, well, it can happen. Tony Grantham having a look to see, especially on these shorter ends, when coming to have a look is Gary Lawson and Andrew Kelly. Well, we'll see with what the weight that Gary Lawson elects to play will give you an idea of what the situation is there. So Lawson going for New Zealand title number 15. So on the backhand is Gary Lawson. And don't whether that's going to make it. That bowl, no, it won't.
And you could see a little stamp of the foot there. Gary Lawson not very happy with himself. And that's yeah, two bowls well below his standard.
Well, same as Curtin saying to Andrew Kelly, play down there again. If you get a touch on the jack, that works in our favour. So here's Kelly as we come to the end of the Summerset National pairs and singles, men and women, and of course the para and blind bowls as well. We're going to make some contact here.
Oh, magnificent shot. Magnificent shot.
3 is the call.
Okay, so it was 3 to Kelly and Curtin the last time we played this way. Again, played a short end.
Well, I think Gary's a bit twixt in between here to draw, and he would be disappointed with the 2 bowls to date that he's played on this end. So here is Lawson on the charge, going for the bowls. Got the jack, and that'll be killed. That'll be a replay. Got another side bowl.
Great bowl, Lawson. Such a good driver. And in these conditions, that's a powerful weapon.
But the good thing is, Andrew Kelly's going to say, I made you drive.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, these
and at this stage, this is anybody's final.
Absolutely it is. You know, it's psychologically, well, Gary, you had to drive then to, you know, to stay in the head and get a result. And we saw Gary's last drive before on the last end, and that was off target. Sure, he was on target with that one, but psychologically, Kelly and Curtin saying, well, we just stick to the draw, put them under the pressure.
And just while the players are getting ready again, I'd just like to acknowledge the passing of Bill Cunningham. Bill was a real stalwart of the Stokes Valley Club, where Seamus Curtin plays, an integral part of the Carroll whānau, and you know, Bill passed away just towards the tail end of last year, and I know that he'd be pretty proud to see that Stokes Valley name out there in this final.
So slip, slop, slap going on out there, which is needed this afternoon. It's pretty warm, and it's interesting. Now we will see the jack. We'll see that change of jack length, but again, I just think, Brett, you either play one or the other.
Yeah, this in-between length is dangerous, as we've talked about.
Very dangerous.
And I think, yeah, let's see what Tony Grantham does here.
Because you can very, very easily, you know, if you're back at the 2 metre mark, but these in-between ends, as I'll call them, it's not it's not a short end, not a long end, it's I'd say 3/4. Now you'll see here. We'll watch closely now with Seamus Curtin, because that adjustment now of line and weight, Mike Curtin, I see sitting there intently. See, it's out on that. Oh.
Pleased to see 4 of his squad members, Kevin, doing battle here. Perhaps not quite so pleased with the first 2 bowls.
I still think it comes about, Brett, because of the length that they've elected to play.
Yeah, it was interesting yesterday when we played Gary and Tony. They mainly played either short or very long ends. They didn't play that in between length. And I think exactly for this reason. Slightly better one from Tony Grantham here. That'll be shot, but still plenty of room compared to the heads we've seen so far in this game.
Oh, absolutely, and you know, it's just a different line, it's different weight, and it's just you can get yourself quickly into trouble. As we see this bowl of Seamus Curtin's going to come past the Grantham bowl, and that's going to applause because that'll come back to the centre line, and that's a good bowl. And the other thing now from the Gary Lawson's side, just to see where this bowl goes, is you can very quickly on these what I call suicide links cut one hand off very quickly.
Yeah, look, it's a dangerous thing to do in the game.
Looking for the jack as Grantham or the bowl's close to it, going to get the jack, and that's well played. Well, he played with weight that was going to give him a chance to hold up through that line.
It's one of the hallmarks of Tony's game, actually. Plays that little weighted shot very, very well. It makes him such a good singles player, and a good pairs lead and skip, actually. Something he's really perfected over the years, and it's a great weapon for him. And now Seamus is trying to play a similar shot.
And not far away is Seamus Curtin of getting this shot bowl. He was unlucky there. He was sort of right on line to get it, played with the right weight to get really good movement. His bowl stayed up, still alive.
Yeah, so
I wouldn't be too disappointed with that result. He was only, literally half a bowl away from getting a very, very good result.
Yes, it's so Gary Lawson to play first now. Well, Lawson, he's the last end coming this way. He played on the backhand, which he did not like, and so yes, he's back onto the favoured side of the rink, and on his forehand.
So I'd endeavour to play under that bowl of the Tony Grantham bowl.
Close here.
That's what he's going to do, and he can take the shot away from Andrew Kelly, although I'm sure Andrew Kelly, because that what you don't want to be doing.
Pouring down there, mate.
Well, this is where you can get into trouble. I still think first bowl, I'd be looking at that searching press through there.
I mean, the good news is Kelly's probably played this hand better than anybody.
Yes, he has. He's been pretty consistent on it.
But it's a tricky, tricky hand. Looks like he's close here.
Going to go now.
Again, just short, just pulling up, just not quite the finish on that hand. Perhaps a little bit more, a few more of those green patches to go through.
I think, really, it's attacking through the two-bowl channel, really, Brett. They've got the backest bowl as well, and I'm sure that's what Kelly will be looking at doing.
I will say, while we're talking about the greens, the Jamie Ferris, who's the new greenkeeper here,
I've got to play down there
so I've done a magnificent job, Kevin.
Well,
yeah, mate, keen for that.
Yeah, so Andrew Kelly straight away said, "No, I've got to play," and Kelly's 100% right.
Yep, I think that's just where the experience comes in.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's a man who's won national titles skipping. He knows what it takes in these games.
No disrespect at all to Seamus Curtin's ability or anything, but it's about percentages, Brett, and to me there's more percentage chances down there, and there you go.
Yeah, well now they've got two bowls on the head, and that gives them a little bit more flexibility now.
Well, whereas before, Brett, you're trying to draw within centimetres to a naked jack, you've got on a hard hand, on a short end, a hard hand, and playing this other way, you've got bowls that you can at least run into. And even at 9-7, you certainly don't want to be putting yourself in a head position where you're looking at staring down a 3 or a 4.
Indeed.
So that was a good call from Andrew Kelly to say to his young lead, look, I've got to get down the other side. That's where the chances are.
That forces Gary Lawson to change his hand and play the. Oh no, he is on the forehand again. He's decided. Not happy with it, but he is on the forehand, and he looks like he's narrow. So it looked like he was just playing to turn that orange one up, Kevin, or in there, and he played with the right weight, but just missed his line.
Set the black through. Set the back through. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. So he'll play a similar shot. Well, Andrew Kelly.
Tamara's expertly wired up Seamus Curtin and Andrew Curtin, so we can hear what they're saying, which is very helpful. And now let's see if Andrew Kelly can play this shot. 9-7 behind.
Oh, you just got to play it with confidence through the head, like he did with his last, and he's got playing it with good weight. Just is going to hold past the front. That's the looked a wee bit. Yeah, look narrow under the head. It just looked out of the hand. It just looked to be slightly under the head, but one down. 10-7 now in 12.
And 3-shot lead. Certainly nothing for Kelly and Curtin to be alarmed by.
No panic at this stage, but really though, it's about getting consistency, that first bowl effectiveness off the front. And really, to be fair, neither Tony Grantham or Seamus Curtin have really piled the pressure on one another. There's been there's been room to draw. Both playing, as you know, both very, very good players.
Good to see a good crowd in here at Burnside. You can see actually Seamus Curtin's mother, Rachel, sitting there behind the umbrella. Rachel is Seamus's coach and very involved with coaching bowls in the Wellington region and with a number of the other players. And her and her husband very keen supporters of their son and regularly cited at the Nationals in that support team role.
So here's Seamus Curtin now. And I just heard a bit then.
Just a little bit wide again, getting
and I heard a bit as he delivered the bowl as well. It was a bit of, this is pressure, you know, and if you want to play with the All Blacks, don't and don't show it.
And also generally, we would say in an 18-end game, this is the business end of the game.
Oh, it is. We're at the next 4 ends.
You're almost looking to just try and get under him, mate.
To end 16.
Andrew Kelly just encouraging his mate, come on, you're just all going to get under it. So that's code for don't go wide.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And just stay down, do your job.
That's the track.
Kelly says that's the track, and he's right. Now, has he got the weight? I think he's close, Kevin.
Very close here is Seamus Curtin. Going to go in behind, sit on the Tony Grantham bowl, and he'll be happy with that. And look, once again, as we come down to the back end of this event, I've got a big thank you through Tamara, Colin and Alex from Bowls New Zealand, who are the brains to put all this together. They do an absolutely outstanding job, and we've got as good of equipment as you'd have anywhere to give you this live stream coverage. So big thank you to Tamara and the team. They do a wonderful job, and the bowlers, supporters, whatever, can be very thankful of the work, and the Bowls New Zealand are putting into the efforts into this live streaming coverage of all of most of the major events around the country.
Good bowl here from Seamus Curtin, just getting underneath there.
Brilliant.
And
Jack Trail.
Jack might still be one down, but that's a very good bowl from him. 2 down on the head, just played with that nice reaching weight.
Oh, it's a confidence shot as well, Brett. You've played. You may not have the shot. Well, it's a bit awkward. You look at that angle. Never try and take the shot angle off the TV monitor is what the shot is, because of course we're at a different angle to where the head is. But that was well played by Seamus Curtin. And
you can hear Andrew Kelly just talking to his mate, just saying to Seamus, look, that's what I want to see. Just keep it tight on that hand. You know, give the bowler a chance, and he certainly did it that time. Gary Lawson down on this side. He's close here, very close here. Oh, that's a wonderful bowl. That's a wonderful bowl.
So Andrew Kelly, go back and you can look from the mat. See, there's a chance reaching through there. Just depends what that port looks through on the from his position.
I think so. Yeah.
So they're talking about attacking on the forehand side.
Well, it's definitely got to attack it.
Unless you like that.
There's a couple of options here. They can play both hands.
I mean, if you are positive down there, you can get back to those two and land them.
If he plays down this side here, which he's looking at, which is his forehand, he's going to have to play with weight that's going to hold up through the line, because to try and you can finish.
He's close.
Hold as much as you can.
He's close.
He's going to get to the shot bowl. Does it? Yes, it does. Well, that's the best shot I've seen played on that hand, because he had to draw and make sure he was up to the head. That was well played, and because it's forced Gary Lawson now to, he has to play that hand. I would say, well, he may not actually. Lawson may not.
Yep, that was a finely played bowl by the 33-year-old engineer from the Canterbury 2017 club. Beautifully played. Great lesson in just really good controlled weight or speed. And Kelly be very pleased with that. Gary Lawson back on the backhand, his preferred side going in this direction, and he'll be looking also to play with weight, looking for a contact on the jack or on the shot bowl.
He's given it a bit of weight as well to make sure he holds up through that port, but he's not going to. It's going to disappear under the line, and needed to be quicker down through there, Brett, to hold up under that to that line. He knows that as well.
Good and controlled weight, so importantly his bowl stays on the surface, so that now gives him oh, hang on, no, it's out. So he's got his first bowl, which was pushed through by Andrew Kelly behind the head. Kelly will be looking to try and nail another one close.
He wants to get another bowl on the head, does Andrew Kelly. So he played that very good bowl on his forehand, the boy from Oamaru.
Looks like he's just trying to come past. Just see if he can match that bowl of Gary Lawson's. He's gone out wide.
He won't get all the way back, because just after he finishes at jack level. I just think Gary Lawson to hold up through that line. If you're going to play that shot, just needs to be
changing his hand, I think.
It needs to be playing for the jack now. I don't know whether that'll come back from there, Brett. I know he's got a big drawing bowl.
It's coming.
It's coming back now. This is a wonderful attempt, but just going to go by.
It's on the draw. Tip you up.
Mate. Weight's good. Tip mine down, good.
That was a hard shot for Gary to try and play down through there, really. And Andrew Kelly and Seamus Curtin will be very happy to get the map and score after that very, very good bowl from Andrew Kelly with his first. No, doesn't. Oh, he's going to get the bowl clean and turn it over.
Well done.
Two it is. That was so that was two shots there from well played from Andrew Kelly. That was played the narrow line to sit the bowl to get the shot, then stayed on the wider side, sat the other which was the third shot, sat on that. So it was well played by the. And now 10-9, 13 gone. Pick a winner. No, you won't.
No, you wouldn't want to wager on who is going to win this game. You know, we've got two of the best leads in the country, two of the best skips in the country, and despite the conditions being tricky, we're seeing some great bowls play.
Oh, good green to play it on, that's for sure. And here's Seamus Curtin. He's on that nice line, down that kind line, and we'll finish
very
jack
good
level.
Start, mate. Well done.
Just sits alongside the jack. That's the best first bowl we've seen from Seamus Curtin for a couple of ends.
And I wonder whether that's just the impact of a little word from Andrew Kelly.
Oh, a bit of because he sort of
don't get too wide, mate.
He sort of hit the ground a bit with it. Grantham equal to the task. It's on line to the jack. Is it just going to sit on top of the shot bowl?
Now Seamus Curtin will be looking to follow this one up with a good bowl. He needs to reach the head, possibly tuck the jack around the behind, and again he's on a good line.
Andrew Kelly as well has matured significantly as a player.
Great weight for it.
It's a good bowl over the head.
He's a good captain.
He is. He sort of had the early on. So many, let's say, had the adolescent sort of challenges, but now has is in my view very, very a good player, very good player, and well worth his spot in the New Zealand side. Well, in that New Zealand group, I'm not
One
saying.
in between weight-wise now.
Very
Looking
consistent,
to get off
Kevin,
Tony's
you know,
first one. Just flop in, get to yours, happy days.
Doesn't play a lot of loose bowls.
Well, it's a wee bit like Mike Galloway because of the delivery which they've got. They've not got. You're not going to see that many loose bowls. Their delivery sort of just makes their bowls.
That's right.
I'll make it a club.
So much more effective. Personally, then, Brett, just a small, in my view, coaching thing. When you've got the shot like that, the trying to play down under the line as the lead to sit a bowl is not what I would call the best option selection, because the chances you're going to have an ineffective bowl. You better to be on the wider side and even finish in behind, because it then becomes, as it has become, literally an ineffective bowl, and just makes it a wee bit challenging.
Tony Grantham just getting a contact on his front bowl and pushing it through, but not onto the jack or the short bowl. But you know, so one here to Curtin and Kelly, but Lawson ominously with the next three.
Yeah, but I hear the right thing from Andrew Kelly. Then said just got to try and beat that bowl out to and behind there.
Yep.
Not looking for any heroics, just endeavouring to try and get another bowl on the head. Only won the difference, 10-9 at end 13. And here's Kelly on the forehand. As Brett said, that very, very smooth delivery. Needs to get past the front, won't do so.
Might have the weight to hold underneath.
Might just sit on his own counter though, and
that's well
does.
played.
And that's actually 2 shots. It's actually worked out more or favourably, because it could have given a bowl on both sides. That was well played, well weighted bowl from Andrew Kelly. Coming down to have a look, Lawson.
Yeah, very similar to that last 10, Kevin. Just making sure you've got the weight to arrive, sit the bowl, trail the jack.
Would you fear, Brett? Gary Lawson will be a wee bit disappointed the last 3 ends, really, because he's hasn't been. He's had some. I'm not saying wayward, but just hasn't had the same confidence in some of his shots, and all is because he's playing in betweens, and so this
here
needs to get the Grantham bowl clean and the jack, and does.
And that's a very good bowl. One to Gary Lawson and Tony Grantham. I see Tony's partner Loz Crute in the crowd. Clapping, she'll be hoping that Tony goes one better than his singles final against Kelvin Scott, played earlier at the Summerset Nationals here at Burnside.
Well, what you saw there as well is Gary Lawson playing the Australian style of, you know, making sure that you're up through the head, give yourself a chance, not really running, not really attacking the head, but just making sure, like the Australians play that push and prod game. Kelly out on that wider draw line, and that won't come back all the way, and of course the jack's now on the 2 metre mark.
And usual bowl from Andrew Kelly there. Wide and heavy. Obviously the jack had been moved, so he had to make an adjustment, but in this case it was a little too far. That's probably his loosest bowl of the final. You know, you don't want to be short in those situations.
No, you don't. But he knows. He's experienced enough to know. Right. Well, I've got to pull back a metre and a bit. And
you feel the wind in your face, and you think, I'll give it a little bit extra just to make sure I get up.
Does leave the door open, of course, for Gary Lawson, who's on. Just needs to get past this front.
He's on a good line.
Just needs to get
He's
past
on
the
a
front.
good line.
And is going to just get the port, but was certainly in the right area. Wasn't far away from getting that touch on the jack.
No, you can see, just how much extra turn his bowl takes compared to the other bowls. Just in that finish. So Andrew Kelly.
This needs to get past the front.
Jack was good, mate.
Not sure he's going
to
to
do so.
One to go.
One to come, Seamus.
Yes. Gary Lawson very quick to point out that he still has 1 bowl left, and he'll be coming up and just checking out, is there a shot to play? Can I move the closest bowl out?
What Lawson is looking at is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. There's a four shot chance here.
Yep.
And if he can play down to what is the second shot, which is a clean shot out through the head.
And these are the sort of shots that Gary Lawson's renowned for.
Well, the other thing is, Brett, is we're playing now in 13, only one the difference, and there's no danger in him trying to play down to the bowl. And these are the shots that, if you can get them, are the big ones that actually turn the game. And you can see what he's looking at. There's a bunch of 3 bowls here, 2 sitting right alongside the jack. Orange bowl in behind. The next one up the rink is that of Tony Grantham's. So Lawson is going to try and play. No, he's not, but he was looking at trying to play that bowl right out of the head.
So he's obviously not confident of playing that.
Well, he's on the harder hand.
But again, close again. Looking for the jack movement.
Jack movement, of course, is in his favour.
But just
that's
like
the one.
this.
11-9 to Tony Grantham and Gary Lawson as we go to end 14 of 18 of this final of the pairs at the National Summerset Bowls Championship here in Christchurch. Earlier this afternoon, we saw Taylor Bruce of the Burnside Club defeat her mate Claire Hendra by 21 shots to 14 to win her first New Zealand Peers title. And then, of course, 4 or 5 days ago, we saw Kelvin Scott of the Elmwood Park Club here in Christchurch defeat Tony Grantham in the final of the men's singles. And we saw the combination, the Canterbury composite combination of Bev Morrell and Sandra Keith defeat Claire Hendra and Taylor Bruce in their final.
I see Graham Skillen, winner of the disabled singles, just from my home club, Takapuna, just popped past.
It's actually from New Plymouth, Brett, all right? Born and bred in New Plymouth, all right? It just so happens he's finished up at your club, born and bred in New Plymouth, good New Plymouth boy, also a good tennis player in his younger days.
And a fairly handy golfer,
he won a Taranaki Junior tennis title, in fact, did Graham.
But I don't think he ever laced a boot for 2 copper.
No, never laced a boot for 2 copper. No, he didn't do that.
Yeah, well done, mate.
So, good opening bowl here from the young Stokes Valley player, Seamus Curtin.
So can Gary Lawson make it 2 titles out of 2 for Elmwood Park, which would be a significant effort?
Yeah, well, he's... this is anybody's at this point in time, isn't it? And Tony Grantham just going by on the centre line by a metre. It's interesting now, that with the shot being held by Seamus Curtin. You can see that wind out there now, Brett. Just it's not a major, but it is just buffeting around. So here's Seamus Curtin.
Oh, mate.
Andrew Kelly asking it to hold, to come all the way back. Is it going to come all the way back? And it will.
Oh, that's a good bowl.
That's a good bowl. Very good bowl.
Probably the best bowl he's played on that hand in this game, Kevin.
So now, I would say Grantham would be quite happy to come down under that port. If we can get to the jack, he'd be quite happy. Looks to be going to come back enough.
It's close here.
Gary Lawson's looking closely at it. Just going to get a feather. Now, that's not what Gary Lawson really wanted.
No.
That bowl.
The feather from hell, I think Stu Scott would say.
Kevin. Yeah, that bowl finishes straight on that jack line, which cut off that sort of arc to get down to the jack. And
get him through there, mate, with a couple of feet. Get to the white, happy days. Down to there.
So Kelly holding 2 and saying to Seamus Curtin, look, change your hand because I want you to just see if you can get past the jack. Any movement's good because it'll just tuck it in behind.
Well, the movement's round the corner in his favour, isn't it?
And just got caught a shade wide, but probably good weight.
Great home.
Great home you hear from Andrew Kelly because it does match those 2 bowls of Tony Grantham's if Lawson plays down that side with and happens to move the jack. it gives them a cover bowl.
Well, Gary's shot options really are a bit limited here of what he can actually play. There's not a great variety of shot options there for him.
He may just try and draw a close one here.
I'm picking that to be this call to try and get at least a second. Here's Lawson now.
He'll be very mindful of just how well Andrew Kelly's been playing. He's on the right line down there.
Breaking back towards that centre line now. Needs to sit on something, going through fairly quick.
That's a lot more weight than I thought he'd play, Kevin.
Well, I suppose the other thing,
You want to trail it
thinking
first?
that as well, he's seen that I can tighten
Make
that
it real
line
hard
up.
for him, mate. 4 there.
If I get the jack, I take I take the shots away, but not really with that pace. One wouldn't have thought.
So Seamus Curtin, should I say, has said to Andrew Kelly, look, you play a similar line to Gary Lawson, but just try and move the jack off the centre line, just around
Around the
those
corner
balls.
is in his favour for sure.
Don't think he's going to come back enough there.
That's
Still
brilliant
coming.
effort.
Still coming.
It's another shot.
Still coming.
Brilliant effort.
It's 3 shots, I think, to Kelly and Curtin. Now, what will Gary Lawson do here? Will he be again playing with that probing weight?
Well, he won't. Lawson's philosophy always is that he's never going to be short. Because you're going to get caught out here being short. And Tony Grantham looking closely at this one now as it comes down towards the shot line. Comes down towards the jack. Comes towards the jack.
Brilliant.
And look at that.
Brilliant. That's why Gary Lawson has 14 national titles and is a former world champion. That ability under pressure to play the big bowl.
Well, and the challenge now with that bowl, of course, is that it's not sitting jack level, the shot bowl. So it just does make it
Mate.
challenging.
Yep. Kelly's got a chance here though. He can play down there, look to get a contact on the bowl, either get the bowl out clean or turn it over, and he's got a catcher. And yep, he's playing with weight. Oh, he's narrow. He's narrow. Didn't get it away with his characteristic.
He could chip that out clean actually through that port. It is on.
It absolutely is on. Yeah, Kelly would be disappointed with that. That would be one of his loosest bowls of the final. But
Well, Gary Lawson really won't want to try and finish jack level sitting around that area because Andrew Kelly will be attacking that head. And he doesn't want to give him a target to rub off or run off.
so Lawson again down this backhand side. He's favoured so much in this game. Interestingly, also that the side that Kelvin Scott played so much in the final of the singles on this rink, and again played very well. Lawson again, he's close here.
Has it got the weight to get all the way?
It's a very good bowl.
Goes by.
Just in behind there, just a nice cover bowl. So if that jack was to be moved sideways, he's got a bowl covering there now.
Gaz,
Just
can you just hop into the room?
Get him, mate.
So Kelly just working his line.
He changed his hand, has he?
No, he's
Still playing down there.
closer this time.
He is closer this time.
Closer this time. Is he going
He's
to
closer
hold?
this
Is he
time.
gonna hold?
He's closer this time. That was a great bowl. That was an outstanding bowl.
Look, this is top draw stuff. We're seeing some great bowls here. Perfect weight.
Oh, to me, I had it written down here. That end, that 14th end, could have well been possibly that bowl that Gary Lawson drew could have been the turning point. But right up to the 2 shots, 11 all. There's the New Zealand singles title holder sitting there proudly.
in some pretty good company with Mandy Boyd and Dale Rayner, both former New Zealand players.
Another New Zealand title sitting right in the middle. It's what's the McLean who won?
Cheryl McLean,
Cheryl
indeed.
McLean. It's
Indeed.
It's another New Zealand title holder sitting there.
So nothing in this final. 11 all after 14 ends in the final.
Well, to me, Brett, that shot from Andrew Kelly, I would say today that is the shot of the match. So of the number of ends that had gone, the position on the head, it wasn't an easy shot at all to play. And you know, Gary Lawson drew play a magnificent bowler, did draw the shot, and 10 out of 10 to Andrew Kelly with the shot that he played and the weight control that he had with it to finish up. Well, there we are now, playing the end 15, and we're locked up 11 apiece.
Yeah, classy stuff from the 33-year-old engineer. I mean, he plays with such deliberate weight.
Well, with a delivery like he's got, you can do that.
Yep. I played him in the singles in the Nationals last year in Auckland, and it was as much as it's never nice to get beaten. It was actually pretty to watch just how accurate he is with those shots.
Well, if you look at where his arm is all the time, it's on that. It's never out or in.
No,
and that's there's a lesson there for everybody.
And that point of release, you know, the bowl's just getting on its running surface nice and smoothly every time, not a hint of a wobble, which means that, you know, he's giving it his best chance all the time.
Well, it's never inside never playing, even on his backhand, he doesn't swoop across underneath. He just holds that line, and that's why it's also, to be fair, it's a delivery that can work on all surfaces, just like the Mike Galloway delivery, Taylor Bruce delivery.
Absolutely. Seamus Curtin falling short with his third bowl. He'd be disappointed with that.
Listen there. He was chasing it before.
Yeah, you got to keep anchored. You got to make sure that you
correct.
And they're playing slightly into the breeze this way, so you do need
to stay down, let it work. And Grantham's made amends here, has he? Fell short with his second.
Just through the head. So definitely one, we think, to Seamus Curtin.
Yeah, just a bit of a lesson there. He was straight up off the. He came up and was moving, and the law of averages, you're going to be short.
Yep. Yeah, you have to be really disciplined. Keep that head still. Looking down the line. You watch Andrew Potter.
You just watch Andrew Kelly now, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about as far as that delivery is concerned. And you know, he's like a golfer, isn't he? It's always the same. There's never out he comes, hand followed through, heads up.
On your weight, mate.
And has that natural, gets that natural arc to the bowl.
And look at the result down the other end. Shot bowl to Andrew Kelly.
Well done, brother.
Well, there's a coaching lesson right there.
Yep.
Stay down, and on these greens especially, it will work home for you. It'll work for you. It'll come back.
Yeah, the man they call Potter, he's working his magic, Kevin.
Oh, he's playing well. He's skipped the. I think Seamus Curtin very, very well. As the big assignment against who he's playing against, as we know, is going to come back far enough as the Lawson bowl. No, just rides past the jack. Andrew Kelly.
Better down here now.
Yep. Mine.
Seamus Curtin says I've got two, so he may be mindful of not wanting to get anything too close on.
Well, he doesn't want to give a shoulder on that hand. That's for sure. And again, with Andrew Kelly's delivery, he knows where that line is, that fine line down there, and he'll be endeavouring to get through the port. Where that Gary Lawson bowl, see the Lawson bowling behind the head there. He'd be quite happy if you got to there. Now it's going to depend with the weight, whether it's going to come back from there. What we've been talking about right throughout, Brett. And no, it's not, but it's still a hard head for Gary Lawson to play to with that Andrew Kelly bowl.
It is.
It's not an easy shot. It's not. You can't play and just sit the ball because it's not sitting out to the side of the jack. It's sitting right in behind.
Yep, Gary Lawson having a really good look at this. He knows better than anybody that we've only got 4 ends to go in this final, including this one, and he's 2 down. He'll want to get a good tight bowl here, I think. He's on the forehand again. He's been playing this hand pretty well.
So Mike Kernan's been sitting there right throughout. This is what, to me, Kernhan, why he's the right man for the job. He's very astute, and he can tell you bowl by bowl what's gone on. And here's now Gary Lawson.
Close.
Trying to get down. Is it going to come back far enough? No, it won't. And it's a difficult line to have to play to get to the jack, Brett. It's the weight and everything else. It's fine to play if you're playing to a bowl, but do we try and dead draw the shot? We're 2 down, and Andrew Kelly, well played, is not going to fatten up the other side of the head.
And you can feel that breeze in your face. So the inclination is just to give it a little bit of extra.
Yes, it is. So here is Andrew Kelly, and
he's on a good line again.
Needs to get to this port. That's the object, to beat those bowls there through the port. Not going to do so.
No.
He'd be disappointed, but I still think it's the challenge of that hand. But it was, in this case, Brett, it was the right hand to play, because otherwise you're just increasing the chances of Gary Lawson. But at the moment, it's a one bowl target. Can't be short. If I get Lawson, he's brought that line in.
Is he here?
He's brought the line in. Needs a bit of luck, I think. And he'll be disappointed with where that finished.
I'll take out one, and they're going to measure for that second bowl. So
may have just given him enough ride to get to second.
Seamus Curtin doing the honours with the tape. Looks like it was only one, I think.
So the little ride that Gary Lawson got off that front bowl, more than made enough to...
I wasn't being rude.
Get the second shot.
My one was out by... It was that one out there.
So we'll just confirm that in about a moment. The scoreboard man.
Yes, Ray Hunt, former National Fours
yes.
winner, looking after the board for us down there, one of the Bowls New Zealand umpires who's been very busy here in Christchurch over the last week.
Because Ray Hunt is one of the umpires at when we hosted the Asia Pacific Championships here, World Bowls. Ray's been and has been to Commonwealth Games. He was one of the umpires at the games as well. So now, Seamus Curtin, this is when you must get close.
So we've played 15 ends. It's the first time since end 4 that Kelly and Curtin have led in this game. It's a good time to get in front, but it's also the time when you've really got to start consolidating things and getting close.
Well, the gate's been left open here for Seamus Curtin, although he's fallen short with his first bowl, and the Tony Grantham bowl as well is going to be short. Comes onto the centre line and still leaves half a metre past his own to draw, and already that front line to the jack's been 2 bowls. It's got tight very quickly.
Probably the longest end we've played in this direction.
Yeah, it would, more than likely would be, Brett, and just question how far is this going to run. Needs to get past the front. If it gets past the front,
great job, mate.
That's a great
Brilliant.
bowl. It's a great bowl from Seamus Curtin. Just drifted past that, shot the front bowl. Well played by the young fella.
Yes, Mother Rachel there, sitting under the umbrella, will be very pleased with that bowl.
12-11 as we play in 16. And
Gary Lawson motioning that, come
Look
on,
at another
Tony.
2 feet, mate.
That's 2 short bowls. That's not where I need you to be at this stage of the game when we're 2 down.
well, personally, I think we're seeing. I've been very impressed the last 3 ends, the way how Andrew Kelly and Seamus Curtin. Well, more so Andrew Kelly has managed and drawn in there an ideal position for the Kelly-Curtin combination. Shot and one in, just in behind. It's imperative here that Tony Grantham gets either, well, I'm not going to say gets the shot, but it's over the head for Lawson. And is he going to? No.
I think he might have fallen in for second shot. So
the difficult thing is, though, to be fair, Brett, you might be right, but if you stand down there on that mat at the other end, that front doesn't look very nice.
No, that looks a little bit like the Great Wall to come through. And importantly, Seamus Curtin has that bowl past the jack, something he didn't do earlier in the game.
No, he did not. Just the one, you see the marker there, putting it up with the one up.
But immediately that gives them that cover and makes it tougher for Lawson, because if he turns that shot bowl onto the jack, immediately they're 2 down.
So Andrew Kelly, the Cantabrian, having a good look what he's going to play on the forehand. See that breeze going through there, just see his shirt ruffling a bit in that wind. And he's played this hand pretty well, actually, to be fair, Brett.
Slow down.
And you hear Seamus Curtin saying, slow down.
Right,
and he needs to get past the jack, doesn't want to. Well, how good's that?
Oh, that's magnificent.
How good's that?
That's magnificent.
It's only 2 now.
And again, Lawson, I'm expecting him to drive here, Kevin, because he doesn't have a bowl past the jack, and he's got to do something to break this head up to give himself a chance. So that's a magnificent bowl from Andrew Kelly.
Oh, well, it's showing maturity in his play and his confidence, isn't it? That was certainly a big bowl.
He's really the only player that's played that side consistently well during the final.
He has, and right through from all the players I've watched in the various semi-finals and finals, this is the best exhibition I've seen from somebody on that hand, Lawson.
On the drive.
On the launching pad. There he goes, on the launching pad, trying to get through to he's going to get the front, get the clean cut out. But it's...
Well, he's cut all of those bowls out, and I think at this stage, Kelly and Curtin have at least got 2 and possibly 3 now with that back bowl, but at least 2.
You stay right away from the, no shoulder stuff at this point.
We may see Kelly change his hand.
Well, he played so confidently on that last draw, and even if he gets a metre past Brett, he's still, in a good position, because we'll have a look in a moment with the head.
And he's such a confident line player, Kevin. Again, look, Seamus Curtin having a very good look. He says push.
Well, I was just looking at that jack line. Contact will kill. It won't go into the ditch, I wouldn't think.
Well,
it could, but it would be unlikely, because contact's off that front bowl on the drive, which would come across onto the jack, because if it goes in the ditch, Gary Lawson's in exactly the same predicament.
That's exactly right. So Kelly a bit disappointed with that last bowl.
There you'll see there, when Gary Lawson makes his way to the mat, you'll see then what it looks like. And
just had a little note from Adam Hayward, well-known North Harbour and Thames Valley player. Pretty tidy singles player himself. So Gary Lawson drawing.
Well, he might be more than 2 down.
I'm guessing he's 3 down at least. So he's looking to get himself a close bowl.
This is a great attempt. If he gets past this is a very good attempt, but just going to go by. Had to be up.
Well, it's not the worst place there, because it's given him a bowl behind the head. So if he does decide to attack with his next bowl, he has got a bowl if the jack ends up in the ditch. But
Absolutely.
But it wouldn't be where he wanted to be. He's at least 2 shots down, and Andrew Kelly, with his last bowl, has an opportunity to really put the pressure on the Lawson-Grantham combination.
Well, that 14th end, Brett, at the end of the day might turn out for both sides to be, because the shot that Andrew Kelly played, he doesn't want to fatten this up.
He's on a much tighter line, but he only has to come through.
Well, he needs
there
to make sure he's
count.
well away across the other side of the.
That's a good bowl. That's a
I love
smart
that.
bowl.
Right.
And that's fine there, because he didn't want to finish on that line across from there. Now, this could be, I'm not going to say the most important shot in the match, but it's certainly, it says 12-11 now as we come to the end of the 16th of this 18N Summerset National Peers Final. And this could be a big part of the match, this bowl. Gary Lawson on the
drawing.
mat.
He's drawing, so obviously he's at least 3 down, possibly more.
On the drive is Lawson, trying to get to the front bowl, trying to get to the hole. He gets the hole. It's nothing.
I thought he might have drawn Kevin. I honestly did. That surprised me with Gary. Obviously, tricky conditions there. Three it is to Curtin and Kelly. So that's 15-11 to Seamus Curtin and Andrew Kelly over Gary Lawson and Tony Grantham after 16 of 18 ends in this final of the Summerset National Men's Pairs.
I've got to compliment Andrew Kelly on. I'll come back to that 14th end when he played that absolute screamer shot to make one. And, you know, these last couple of ends, they've sort of, and Tony Grantham hasn't given that first bowl really pressure bowl back on the side, the Kelly side. And Seamus Curtin has jumped on that opportunity, to be fair, the young fella. And he's got a good start here. There's another good bowl.
Pretty good start, mate. Well done.
Yeah, it's... You know,
And I'll add to that, Kevin, I think that little chat that Andrew Kelly had with Seamus Curtin a few ends ago, just, you know, come on, mate,
he just did the old...
Yeah, just give him a little bit of encouragement. And we've just seen him just tighten up a little bit in his play. And Tony Grantham just struggling a little bit.
Good ball here, though, from Grantham, coming
Nice
past
supply.
the jack and sit him behind. And it will be a metre behind, but that's fine.
Yep.
And just from Andrew Kelly's point of view, they'll be desperate to score on this. And this has been, if you look at it really, Brett, they were teetering a bit in that mid stage.
Yes, I agree. I think, you know, it was some good bowls from Andrew Kelly keeping them in the game.
He did. He played. You know, they were in situations whereby they had heads where there was really no opportunities, and it was and struggling heads to get to. But Kelly has done a marvellous job, and you see that win now. It's got up a lot more than what it was earlier, and Tony Grantham will be endeavouring to beat his first bowl, get by it.
Seamus Curtin put a second one in the ditch, trying to reach, and that's one to Tony.
Last bowl shot.
Tony,
Yep.
it's a shot
Stick
bowl,
past you, mate. That's all.
literally sitting jack level, and I've been very impressed with the maturity of Andrew Kelly's play in this game. I thought he's been very good. He's
Very measured, Kevin.
yeah, he's been very, very good how he's managed the game and just stuck to the task.
Seamus Curtin, good line here.
Might have a bit of speed, is it?
Line
Better
here, is
be
he gonna
played here, mate.
there? Oh, yes, he's there all
He's
right.
around the corner of the jack, isn't he?
Brilliant.
Yep, I can hear Mike Carroll in that Stokes Valley club. I think they'll be starting to feel pretty good about this.
So Grantham, at this point, Brett, Tony Grantham will be a bit disappointed with the last 3 ends.
Just dropped off his high standard, and that's unfortunate. He's just brought up Seamus Curtin's bowl. Yes, you can see a little
Get down there and try and get it first.
slap
Now-
of confidence.
Well, we trail.
And just what Mike, and this isn't at all talking about Tony Grantham, but this bit of a fall off this last 3 ends is exactly the point that Mike Kernan and I were talking about of some of the challenges that New Zealand sides, both men and women, have faced in some of our international events, whereby we've stayed with the opposing side, you know, right to the sort of the money end of the event, and for some reason we've got this, and it happens, and it's one of those things where we've just got to, and it's about having the right people that are going to manage them through this. Now,
Yeah, Tony will be disappointed. He's a seasoned campaigner. He's led for New Zealand for many years. And yeah,
now The problem
yeah.
that Gary, that's a fantastic bowl there from Andrew Kelly, because it just is far enough in front for Gary Lawson to make that line difficult.
Indeed.
Yeah, he's going straight for the jack in the ditch.
Lawson on the run.
Going to get the front.
Narrow. Yes, he got one of the bowls out. Now, one thing we can say is never rule Gary Lawson out.
Absolutely not.
Well, the jack in the bowl for 2 or 3.
He's been around so long.
Are we down here, mate? Anything between the jack?
Nothing will
Yeah, good.
intimidate him about the situation. He's been there before, but this is the second last end, and he needs to score.
Certainly is, and where the Seamus Curtin bowl is situated, a bowl, it's he can get it out clean.
Well, that's not where he wanted to be.
I just want to get a look on that camera to see whether it's how far behind it actually is, or is it level, because that would make a difference to the weight that Gary Lawson actually plays with this bowl. Here he is again on the backhand, trying to get down to the jack.
Again, he's tight.
He's tight.
So Tony Grantham has those 2 catching bowls, if you like, or 2 bowls behind the head. But
I know Gary Lawson's a great player, but it's starting to play in your head now, because I've had 4 or 5 drives.
And that backhand side has not been his friend during this game. He's not picked that line quite so well. Andrew Kelly needs to get around the back here.
I was going to say Kelly needs to make sure he drops around the back.
Gets around the back here, he gives himself a good chance of closing out the game on this end, if Gary Lawson doesn't kill it.
Looks good to there, bro. Come on.
Oh, he's packing to the head.
Push.
Push.
Don't want it to push, want it to go by.
Well, that's a good bowl.
That's a good bowl.
That's a good bowl. It's not the absolute backest.
Well, he didn't want it slowing up, really.
Absolutely not.
So here's Lawson. Last
Good
bowl.
here.
Going for.
No, he's
Pulled
tight.
again. Pulled again.
He's tight again. Well, that is 3 of the most uncharacteristic bowls I think I've seen from Gary Lawson in the final.
Scored pressure.
They're just deciding what they're going to do. It's 6 the difference, so they need the maximum to win.
What do you say?
Lawson saying, no, come on, we can still win this. We can still tie the game with a 6.
You need 6 to draw.
This has been an outstanding exhibition on this back end of the game, Brett. If you look at that scorecard from end 12, is it? Or end 14? Well, you go to end 12, 2, 4, 5, 8, 10, 1.
Yep. Yeah, you can, the Kelly Curtin combination have dominated this last part of the game.
First bowl effectiveness.
Yep. We've seen Seamus Curtin play a lot more consistently, getting to the head, and
nicely encouraged along by Andrew Kelly on the way through.
Great game management, and Kelly's been simply magnificent, Kevin. Simply magnificent. And on this occasion, the great Gary Lawson has not been able to respond to recover those heads.
What's ironical, though, in saying that, Brett, is the minute Tony Grantham sort of turned the machine off for a few ends, and they haven't been able to respond back against it, and that's and this is exactly what Mike Kiernan and I were talking about.
And it's an old adage, Kevin, pairs is the leads game. The lead sets the foundation, and at this level, everybody can play well. So if you can lay that foundation, see again, Tony Grantham short. So Lawson not happy.
And that's badly short.
Yeah, that's badly short. You've got to get the maximum count here, so you're not going to give yourself a chance if you're short of the jack. The jack does sometimes bounce back, but only in very rare occasions.
Very often.
Seamus Curtin said that's yuck, and I think we'll all agree that that's probably not his best work.
Well, looking to go for a possible first title, of course, for the young fella.
Yep.
And well deserved at this point in time.
And I think we should acknowledge that, Kevin, because Seamus has been knocking around. There have been a few people saying he hasn't fulfilled his undoubted potential, and today might just be that day.
Oh, look.
Same as the first.
In my view, he's someone who was always going to happen. But what I've liked is the way how Andrew Kelly has managed. Playing Gary Lawson and Tony Grantham, you're in for a real tough encounter.
Absolutely.
And the way that he's managed the whole thing, and I've seen Seamus Curtin before perhaps get a bit rash with some of his shot decisions, but Andrew Kelly said a couple of times, no, we're playing here, and
look, I think he's been very workmanlike, Kevin.
oh, absolutely,
He
yes,
stuck to his work, and maybe when he was just looking a little bit wobbly in that middle stages of the game, a bit of encouragement from his good mate Andrew Curtin's helped him out.
Well, the big thing was, if you look at it, Brett, bowl there, but if you look at it though, the good thing from Andrew Kelly's point of view, in that mid stages when things are really cracking along for the Gary Lawson combination, there was a 2, a 1, a 2, a 1, a 2, and a 1. So there hasn't been.
Yep.
There hasn't been the opportunity to really crack the big numbers.
And I think, as we've talked, Kelly has done a really good job of making sure when they had a bad end that they limited the damage.
Yeah, he didn't try and play adventurous shots to try and get himself out of trouble. The second shot was a good shot.
But that 3 on the 9th end, when they got to 9 all, they dropped to 2 and a single after that. That's when we heard Andrew Kelly just give Seamus a bit of encouragement, and since end 11 they've won all.
Well, to me that was
end.
the end there. That 14th end when Gary Lawson played an absolute screamer to change it around when they were holding 3, and then Andrew Kelly just played that magnificent bowl, and since then what have we seen? It's been all one-way. It's been one-way traffic.
Now Lawson's playing to try and turn one of Tony Grantham's bowls up. Gets shot. Now that's the result from hell, because yes, he's turned the bowl up, but he's now blocked the drive.
Can't see anything.
I'll just lob another in there, mate.
So he has no shot now for killing it unless he kills it off that bowl. I mean, Gary Lawson would know the chances of getting a 6 on a last end are remote, but as we discussed earlier, we've seen New Zealand finals in the past where big numbers have been dropped on the last end.
Kerry Clark
Take it home, mate.
versus Ken Murder, 1976 at Onehunga.
Yes. Yes, I think earlier than that, a fours final with Jack Rayburn. Lawson's on the drive.
We talked about that yesterday. Trying to get to the drive, Lawson.
Well, he's given himself a chance.
I'll be somewhere up the front.
Lawson
down and try and
no,
put it in.
Seamus. That's what you don't do, is go to the front, because that's what they come off.
You're going to have to play pretty quick weight to get under there.
Nah, round.
Oh, round. Oh, yeah, of course, yep.
Yeah, no, you don't.
So Andrew Kelly, he knows he's got the game wrapped up here, so long as he doesn't give Gary Lawson anything to play off with that drive. I mean, Lawson could hit the jack. There's no
Oh, absolutely he could. Absolutely.
But he's just he's looking to get a bit of movement on that jack. He punches up a short bowl, which is a short bowl of, I think, Seamus Curtin's. That doesn't matter.
Gary Lawson, though, do feel we're very disappointed with his drive. He's hit one. It's on its way, is the Lawson bowl. Is this the last bowl? Got the jack? No, he hasn't. And there it is. We've got our Peers winners. The combination is Seamus Curtin of Stokes Valley winning his first New Zealand title, and Andrew Kelly, 2 years ago, of course, won the singles here in Christchurch. This year it's the Peers, and what an effort that was from the young combination, running out the winners. I think it was 2 on the last end by 19 to 11. And really, it was their last 7 or 8 ends which belonged to Kelly and Seamus Curtin. Hearty congratulations to them on their magnificent effort, playing against one of the best players in the world, and the young 21-year-old from Stokes Valley and Andrew Kelly. They were outstanding at the back end of the game, Brett.
Yes, look, echo your words, Kevin. Great to see, the Kelly Curtin combination successful. First New Zealand title for Seamus Curtin. I feel for Tony Grantham, that's 2 finals, runner-up in the singles and the pairs. That won't have done his chances for New Zealand any harm, but he'll he and Gary Lawson will look back at the game and just reflect on maybe what happened.
Well, it'll be disappointing those last 5 ends, to be fair, because we spoke about it, Brett, that first bowl effectiveness, and it wasn't able to be delivered. So that brings us to a close at the Summerset National Bowls, and just quickly as a wrap, the men's singles, of course, were won by Kelvin Scott of Canterbury, where he defeated Tony Grantham. The women's singles was won by Taylor Bruce of the Burnside Club, where she defeated Claire Hendra in the final. The women's pairs was won by Bev Morrell and Sandra Keith, and they defeated the combination of Claire Hendra and Taylor Bruce. And now we have just seen the final of the Summerset men's pairs, and we saw Andrew Kelly and as young lead Seamus Curtin defeat Tony Grantham and Gary Lawson in this final. And congratulations to Kelly on a stellar performance and another New Zealand title. And this is Kevin Hickland and Brett O'Reilly wrapping up for you at the Summerset Nationals here at Burnside in Christchurch.